Welcome back to the D&J podcast, to our old listeners and to new listeners. Wow, I can't speak. Welcome. I'm Dillon, and I'm here with Justin. Introduce yourself, good sir.
No.
Okay. Okay. No, but if you if you've seen the previous episodes that we plan to release or that you guys should have seen, you'd know that this is a bit of a marathon of sorts that we're doing with these podcast episodes. We've taken a bit of a hiatus for a while, so definitely decided to come back and feed you out the content. And the NBA season is around the corner, so we decided, previous to our seeding video, that we're going to do the top 10 players in the NBA for each of our teams. I said for each of our teams, wow, for each of our list. So, sorry, my phone buzzed. But so, I think it's best to start out with a few honorable mentions, some people that I think deserve to be on here but didn't quite make the cut, if you have any.
I don't have any actually. I think the only guys I would think could have possibly been here would have been Westbrook. I was thinking about Embiid, but I ended up not putting him here. I think Cat's a lot better than most people do, apparently, so I probably would have had him fringe here. And I forgot who I pushed out or who would have been 11. Oh, you know what? I think the only guy who got a real honorable mention is like Jason Tatum. Because I don't think he's on top 10 level yet, but I do think by the end of next season, he'll be in the debate.
For me, I think a big honorable mention, probably someone who deserves to be on here, but I just didn't put them on here. Probably Jimmy Butler, surprisingly. Like, I don't have him in my top 10 list, but he's like right at 11 though. I said Jimmy Butler. Jason Tatum also, like you said, it's like right outside that area. And then Joel Embiid. Thought about it, didn't really think much of it. But yeah, those are my three. So I'd say those are 11 to 13, whatever order that I want them to be in. But yeah, those are a few honorable mentions. But, with that being said, I'm going to start with my number 10. And my number 10 is Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. Center for the Denver Nuggets. Came off of a great playoff run with Denver. Best player on the team. Leading them to a conference finals. Unfortunately, it didn't go out how they hoped. Got knocked out in 5 by the Lakers. But to see how really difficult it is to guard him, like, great shooter, has an underrated post game. Definitely got slimmer going into the bubble. So I think that helped his mobility a lot, but he's not the Flash or anything. Yeah, I like it. I really like Nikola Jokic and his game. He's the best center in the league for me. So yeah, he's my number 10.
Number 10, I actually have Damian Lillard. Last season, he definitely proved, at least me, wrong, because I've always been kind of sleeping on Dame. I've always kind of had him lower in tiers than most people would have. So I will say he impressed the hell out of me to end last season. His playoff performance against the Lakers, and not so much. But again, I'm not going to discredit him because his team lost. There's no way anybody should have realistically thought that the Blazers could beat the Lakers in that series. I think my only issue with Dame and why he's not higher on this list is that I've consistently seen him not choke in the playoffs, but underperform. Like, it's it's weird. It's almost like James Harden gets the like choker label when I really think that's more of what Dame is. Just in my own opinion, I don't feel like that guy is a great playoff performer. I think he has great moments in the playoffs rather than amazing performances overall, except against OKC. He baked them.
Yeah, he was a man on a
But
mission.
I think my only I think my only issue with Dame really is I don't feel like I can trust him come the playoffs. But who knows? Maybe he'll surprise me next season.
That's fair. And to that point,
And
no, go ahead.
well, as you said, he's at your number 9, but I had Jokic at my number 9 for similar reasons as to you. Jokic never impresses me in the regular season for some reason. But I think what last season's playoff showed for a couple of teams is that the regular season isn't that important, and I'm really judging these players off their playoff performances. And Jokic just went crazy, if you ask me. Like, I know this is a team game, it's team effort with this, but to be the best player on a team that came back from down 3-1 even once is impressive to me. So the fact that he did it twice in the same year, even though he had a lot of help from Jamal Murray, I won't act like he didn't have a good supporting cast along with him. I think that's impressive, and that just speaks volumes to how impactful of a player he is without being a traditional center.
Yeah, like especially in the playoffs, he shot a damn near unsustainable amount of threes that from a great percentage. Shot 42%. I just looked it up. Shot 42% on 5 attempts during the playoffs, which is ridiculous for a big man. And going back to what I was saying about Dame, I agree. Not really the best playoff performer, but like you said,
Right.
the end of the regular season really impressed me. And I personally think that he can lead the Blazers. He can lead a healthy Blazers team to a good record. Like not an MVP type season, but he can definitely lead them there. And in terms of who I have at my number 8, if I'm not mistaken, it's Luka Doncic. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's Luka.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I think we're all amazed at what he did to the Clippers, even if he lost. I think that just one game against the Clippers where he stepped back and hit the game winner just really elevated him. That was a fantastic game. We didn't have KP. Most teams would just lie down and take the L, but he just came out, did what he had to do. Like that was amazing. And yeah, he's next up. Very cold player, can do almost everything. Yeah, his defense isn't the greatest, but I think he'll come around. But yeah, he is a rising star in this game. I'm very excited to see what he has in store for next season.
I actually agreed with you on this one. I had Luka at 8 too. So I don't feel like there's much I really have to touch on there that you didn't already hit on. I'm only putting this guy this low to be conservative because I don't know how he's gonna come back next season. Normally I'd have him around the top 3 or 4, but it's Kevin Durant. Do I expect Kevin Durant to still be the second best player in the world once he comes off of injury? No, not really. I think maybe I underrated how bad Achilles tear could really be on him, but I don't think it'll be bad enough for him to fall out of the top 10 players in the league, personally. I think he's still going to be a deadly scorer. He needs a haircut really bad badly, so maybe I'll drop him to 8 for that. But outside of his hair, I don't think there is a single real flaw in Kevin Durant's game that I can still point to. But that being said, I could see him being not slower, but worse this season than we've previously seen.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. My number 7 would have to be James Harden. Yeah. I just think we've kind of seen what we've seen from James Harden. We know what we're gonna get. Somebody who's gonna get you the 30 points, the 7 rebounds, and the 8 assists, or whatever his averages are. But in terms of like where he ranks among the top of the top, he doesn't really impress me that much, really. Like we know James, we know his body. We know he's a great scorer, can play make when he wants to, somewhat decent defender, underrated post defender for sure. But it's like if you're going against the top of the top, I think I can't really put him above where I have him personally.
Okay, yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. I think maybe for the next 3 guys I have in the list, it's all kind of debatable as to where you put everybody. I tried to have no recency bias with this, so maybe. Well, no, I can definitely see the argument for these guys being interchangeable, but I had Harden above KD. But right above him, I had Anthony Davis. Again, I think it's debatable that even Anthony Davis could be like the 3rd best player in the league, quite frankly. But I don't know. I don't think I saw enough before he teamed up with not teamed up with the Lakers, teamed up with LeBron in LA to confidently say, oh yeah, now this guy could absolutely be the leader of a championship team on his own. Granted, the help he had in New Orleans was never great. So I'm not going to act like he was teamed up with like a top 20 player in the NBA outside of Boogie throughout his whole time there. But I'm just not confident in having AD greater than the guys ahead of him. I expect him to be better than Kevin Durant, Luka, Jokic, and Dame. Hence why I have him there. But for me, 4 to 6 is even 3 to 6 might be interchangeable.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Because for my number 6, ahead of James Harden, I do have Anthony Davis. Originally, when I made this list, I had him a bit higher than I guess than you think, But then once I thought about it, it's like, yeah, that playoff run was amazing, but we need to see it for a sustained amount of time, And he's always been a good playoff performer. He just hasn't really had the help to really show it in terms of how far.
They just haven't gotten there.
So,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, AD
Um,
is a great defender. His bag is ridiculous. He can shoot. He can hit you with a mid range. He can bang down low in the paint. This whole narrative about how he's this soft player, I don't know where it came from. I guess it's because he doesn't want to play center, but he's not soft. Like he'll definitely thing. I think the one major issue that I would look at him and say is a problem is his injuries, because he definitely went down a couple times in those playoffs, and yeah, almost to the detriment of the Lakers. Kind of like, oh, is he gonna come back? But if he can stay healthy, I can see him being around that upper echelon. And just to get this out the way, I put KD at 5. I think, like you said, if KD is healthy, KD he's at 2 on this list, but he's not. Like, so definitely think he won't come back and be the world beater, you know. But I do also think
Right.
that he'll be. His skill has shown me that he'll come back and be better than the people I have at 6 to 10, including Anthony Davis. So, yeah.
I've just come to the realization that I actually had AD at 5, not at 6. So I just can't count properly. Yeah, doesn't matter. Regardless, Anthony Davis was my 5, not 6. I feel like I said that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But for the argument with KD, again, I just think that Achilles rupture, whatever it was, is gonna put him down some spots, especially because before his injury, when he was in Golden State, I know he became like a really good rim protector and just kind of defender in general. And I can't see him being nearly as good on that end as he was beforehand or when he was in Golden State. And that was a big reason why I had him confidently as the second best player in the world behind LeBron at one point. So I feel like if he doesn't have that, I don't feel like his scoring ability without that mix of his good rim protection and just kind of being solid to good at everything else puts him ahead of Anthony Davis, who I feel is both an elite scorer and defender. And everything else outside of playmaking, but why would Anthony Davis need to be a great playmaker?
Yeah. Now, going into the top 4, kind of struggled with this, but I feel very confident. At my number 4 spot is Giannis Antetokounmpo, 2-time reigning MVP. He has the potential to be at number 1 by the end of the season for sure, and here's why. We've all seen that Giannis and his willingness to improve is through the roof. He averages 30. All he needs is like a bit of a newer game or a new way to play. Because the style that he plays where he is bringing up the ball and like ball handling so teams can actually build a wall around him, that is where I don't like how he's been used. I hope Coach Bud realizes that and utilizes him in a different way. But yeah, Giannis almost has no holes in his game. And when he does plug that hole in his game, it's gonna be ridiculous for the league. And I know he's working on it.
I disagree with you on this one. I had Steph at number 4. Um, what is there to honestly say about Steph that hasn't already been said, though? He's the greatest shooter of all time, no doubt. Um, he's a better passer than anybody really wants to give him credit for. No, he's not an elite defender, but honestly, he doesn't need to be elite because what he brings on offense with just the I don't want to say gravity because I feel like everybody says gravity, but the attention that you have to pay on defense is like ridiculous when you're talking about Steph Curry because give him an inch of room, you're giving up 3 points regardless. But again, I guess everybody who I have in my top 3 have I don't want to say elite because I don't think Giannis is like an elite offensive player. I think he's just very dominant. But they have great offensive games to go with more than passable defensive abilities. So I guess that's really my thing with being in that best player in the world debate.
Yeah, I get you. And Giannis over Curry is not a bad take at all. But for me, I think what I realized with my top three is that all of these guys in my
Right.
top three have really shown that they can lead a championship team as the best player on that team. And that being said, my number three
Right.
is Steph. You know, like I think part of us has forgot how good he really is since we haven't seen him play in like a year. But when he gets back to it, yeah, his defense
Right.
isn't the best, but when he gets back to it, he's the one of the best in the league, a legend, second best point guard of all time, and I'm not willing to debate
Easy.
that. Like he's a legend, and we can't take
Let's see,
that
one
away from him.
motherfucker say John Stockton, I'm slapping the shit out of you.
Who the fuck thinks John Stockton is the second greatest point guard of all time? I'm telling you guys from right now, John Stockton isn't top 5 all time. I'll say that right now. Different debate.
Yeah, I already said Giannis was buck three.
Different debate. But go ahead.
Number two, easily I had to put Kawhi Leonard. I get that in that game 7 against Denver, that was ugly, but come on now. Let's be real. How many other real blemishes does Kawhi have like that? The guy is an amazing playoff performer. He's an amazing scorer, amazing shooter. I'd say this isn't even really a flaw in his game, but I'd say the only part of basketball that he's not great to elite at is his passing ability, which is kind of detrimental on the Clippers. But if he were anywhere else that had any type of playmaking, it wouldn't be an issue at all. I think the only thing that's keeping me from putting him as the best player in the world is the fact that, well, it is partially that game 7, but I don't know. Part of me feels like I don't want to say he can't lead a team, because how can you not lead a team, but you're a 2-time champ with 2 finals MVPs?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. That whole Clippers season just makes me feel like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I know what I want to say.
I think I get you and get where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know. I think the Clippers not making out of the second round is really the only thing that's bugging me with that.
I think with Kawhi,
But yeah,
I think with Kawhi, he definitely needs a culture to buy into. Because if you look at his 2 titles, the first one was with the Spurs, where it's all about team basketball and nobody is bigger than the other. This, that, and the third. And then with Toronto, it was really
right.
a culture of, yo, you have to buy in, you have to play with heart, this, that, and the third. You got Kyle Lowry, who's just a dog type of player. Clippers don't have any type of culture. And that's honestly to their detriment. Like they can act however they want about how they're not to be messed with. Like don't sleep on the Clippers, but they're not a big dog, especially when they legit share an arena, at least up until last season, with the Lakers, the best franchise in the NBA. So I think it's kind of hard to really establish a culture when you're being overshadowed by the best franchise in the NBA. But that being said, best player in the league, it's LeBron. And after this finals run,
Yeah.
no one can really say otherwise. Regardless of all the things that you see on Twitter about how he had a path to a Mickey Mouse ring, this, that, and the third, let's give the man his props.
I hate the whole Mickey Mouse ring debate, especially when you talk about his path to the finals. Because again, whose fault is it other than other team star players that they didn't make it as far as they should have. Like, well, not gonna say other team star players, but other teams that they didn't make it as far. Because if he went through like the Clippers and the Bucks, it's you know what? That looks a lot better on paper than saying, oh yeah, I beat the Heat and the Nuggets. So I guess that would have earned it some more respect. But at the end of the day, right? He still beat the team that beat the guys who were considered better competition. So I don't get how you can discredit him for that, personally.
The one thing that you can deter from his playoff run is that he didn't beat a fully healthy Heat team. But then again, let's not act like he wasn't projected to beat a fully healthy Heat team. I don't think them being healthy would have mattered as much as people say it would have, especially since they got blown out in game one. Like, let's not forget that. Got blown out when they were fully healthy in game one.
Didn't they get blown out in both games that Goran played?
Yeah, but Goran came back in game 6, and that he wasn't the same. But like, I think he just really,
True.
I think he just really wanted to get back on the court, knowing that they might have got eliminated. But the point still stands. Can't take it away from him. Like, I would say age is really a factor, but after last season, I think he showed that for as long as he keeps himself healthy, LeBron is still going to be LeBron. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's it for our list. I think that was a bit shorter than we both expected it to be, because we originally planned to take a break at 5, but it
Yeah, we
went
kind
quick.
of through that.
But just for you guys to keep it a little bit longer, I'm gonna get "Am I the Asshole" thing from Reddit, read it off, and then we'll be on our way. So let's go to the top post for this week. Like, we want something recent. And ooh, that kind of actually. All right, I'm ready. So the title is "Am I the Asshole for Not Punishing My Daughter for Mocking Her Cousin?" Sounds pretty bad, but whatever. My wife and her younger sister are best friends. As a result, when our middle daughter and her cousin were born around the same time, my wife really expected them to also be best friends. With 16 years of hindsight, I can say with certainty that the expectation was misplaced. Nothing happened in particular. My daughter just doesn't like her cousin. My wife keeps pushing the relationship. This includes making my daughter spend time with her cousin during family gatherings, inviting her cousin on trips, forcing my daughter to call her. We're pretty sure I'm the favorite parent, a fact that keeps my ego well inflated, and therefore my apathy towards the situation is not well received by my wife. From my perspective, this isn't important, and I do not possess the ability to make two teenagers become friends. I'm also pretty sure that trying to push this kind of knuckleheaded stuff makes kids not want to speak to you. This is where I'm probably an asshole. Yesterday, my wife forced my daughter to video call her cousin. My daughter rejected to request, and my wife told her, unless you have a valid reason for disliking your cousin, you will do this because we're family. Call occurred. We awoke to a to a PowerPoint presentation titled "Valid Reasons to Dislike the Cousin's Name." Using clips from the Zoom call, segments included why cousin's voice is so grating, a music theory approach, a case study, conversations that provide no value, rethinking the idea that there are no dumb questions, etc. With the benefit of a couple hours of hindsight, it was a very cruel takedown of her cousin's entire personality. My wife is furious. My eldest daughter and I lost our shit laughing. My wife is demanding, and I support her in punishing my daughter for bullying her cousin. I refuse because I feel like this whole situation wouldn't have occurred if she didn't push the relationship. And I'm starting to have second thoughts because it was very mean. Oof, man.
I mean, this is a tough one because I get what he means.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, if two people if one person clearly just doesn't want to fucks with the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
The mother should not be trying to force that. If I'm gonna be cool with the family member or a friend, that'll happen naturally. You're not gonna make me, oh, you two have to be nice to each other because you two are cousins. That's just not how it works. That's not how those relationships build at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think he should punish her anyway, just so it's clear that, what you did was funny, but dead ass, don't do that, please. You could really hurt someone's feelings with that. I think that's just proper parenting in that situation. But I definitely understand what he means when he says, "Oh, I feel like my wife shouldn't be doing this, that with my daughter."
Yeah, it's tough. I personally think that I think she should join in the mother on the side of you don't do that to a person. Like you don't take examples of their call and put it in a PowerPoint present. Like you don't do that to a person, even though in the moment it might be funny.
Right.
At the end of the day, that still is very mean. And if that person, and that you wouldn't say that to your person's face, or you wouldn't like that done to you, because again, that's very cruel. But at the same time, that was as a result of him.
Right.
That was as a result of the wife kind of pushing it. I feel like that's just what kind of happens. That I think the daughter just really felt resentment towards how much he was pushing it. Instead of resentment to the mom, she kind of pushed that towards the daughter. Well, to the cousin rather, and that's why she was so mean about it.
Right.
But in terms of the dad, he's not an asshole per se, because I see where he's coming from.
Yeah, nah. It's like you're not an asshole, and matter of fact, nah, you're not an asshole at all, and your heart's in the right place when it comes to that relationship thing. But please, like, do something with your daughter, bro.
Like, talk to her
Because
at
that's
least.
funny as hell, but like, please be like, yo, you can't do that. Because if you don't stop the behavior at that point, it almost seems like you're encouraging it. So who the fuck knows what she does in the future, knowing that you're not gonna say anything to her about that.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah. And it's also like, I don't like the narrative of, oh, it's because they're family. Like, I think as parents,
Right.
you have to eliminate that narrative from kids' heads, because if if I'm being mistreated, not to say that this cousin was like mistreating her, but if I'm being mistreated, if something just isn't there, I'm not gonna force myself to like somebody because they're family. Like, say if I have an uncle who has very right views and very conservative views, like I acknowledge the fact that he's my uncle. That doesn't mean I have to like him per se. Like, or if I have a cousin, like for example, I
Like,
have I have multiple cousins, obviously. Like I have like my cousin Bradley and Danny that I'm close to, who are like a bit older than me. And I have a cousin Jordan that's exactly my age. But my parents never forced me to like Jordan or really attach to Jordan because he's like my age. Like they never did that.
all right. Um. Yeah, I see what you mean. I feel like you shouldn't have used the conservative viewpoints because that just makes it seem like you don't like him for his political views. And I, for one, feel like I can get along with somebody who has differing views on politics as long as you're not like egregious with it. Like, you could be a Trump supporter or whatever, right? That's whatever. I'm not gonna slap you in the face because you prefer him as a president.
Oh yeah, no. Like I don't want
But
that message to get across. Like you can like who you
yeah,
like. Just don't be
it's,
an asshole about it.
yeah. Look, everything comes full circle.
Yeah, but
But yeah,
go ahead.
nah, I didn't have anything to say after the. But yeah,
Yeah. So that's it, guys. This was a bit of a shorter podcast than we anticipated. I think we started recording at like 5:30. It's 5:59, all things considered. But hey, for the people who don't like very long podcasts that we put out, this is a bit of a short one. So thanks, guys. Have a good weekend if you're seeing this, and we'll see you guys soon.